Civ 6 Beginner's Guide. This is a beginner's guide to the video game Civ 6, and this will apply to Civ 5, Civ 4, Civ 7, etc. Basically, it's like the game Risk, where you have property, in this case it's a city, and you create a unit such as a tank or a soldier, and you want to conquer other cities or settle untaken land. And every piece has a certain attack value, defend value. You know, this game is kind of like Panzer Blitz. If you know Panzer Blitz, it was a board game in the 80s. That's basically what the game is. So you have hit points, you have an attack score, a defense score, you have different types of units, different types of tanks, different types of soldiers, and some of them are range attacks, some you have to be adjacent. There is aircraft, boats, cavalry, horses, foot soldiers, etc. You start out as a caveman, and you go through the medieval times and the steam, the Iron Age, they call it, and then the modern times. There isn't a future time, but I believe in Civ 5 they had mech warriors, but you don't have that in Civ 6. So you're going to capture other people's cities, and you have to do it either using your military or using what's called culture, which means that your culture has expanded so much to their city that they want to be a part of your civilization. So they join your civilization. You can also do it by starting a rebellion in their city, or if they start their own rebellion because of poor management. You can use espionage, or you can trade to acquire a city. So there's lots of different ways to get the enemy city, but the number one way is to use your military. You weaken the city defenses, and then you invade the city. And that's how I was able to do it. The game lasts a long time. I'm on turn 956. Each turn could take 2 or 3 minutes. You could end up playing for weeks. This is a game where you can stop playing and you can start again a month later or a year later. And you're going to forget some of the details. But if you don't have a lot of cities and you don't have a lot of units and you don't have a lot going on, you can just start where you left off. There's a lot of depth to the game. There is religion, archaeology, there is great works of art. There are special buildings like the Colosseum of Rome. You've got the weaponry. You've got great scholars. You've got great musicians, great artists, great generals. There's a lot of features in the game. They can create works of art that you can trade or get bonuses from. There's diplomacy. You can negotiate with another player. You can form an alliance with another player. You can play one against everyone. You know, there's lots of options with the diplomacy. And the animations are pretty cool. You know, I enjoy watching the animations. Some of the graphics are pretty nice. Like, if you look at the way they do the modern buildings, it's better than they did in the previous versions. Your territory, basically your production is based on the city. This is what the production looks like. These are the tiles that people are working on. You see that there's a swap option. which means you can take the tile from another city. For example, if you go to a small city like this 9 over here, you can see he could take some of the tiles from the neighboring city. These are tiles that I own in the other city. This one is short on tiles, so obviously he would want to try and swap from someone who has more. You have all sorts of different production. You can buy a soldier, or you can train a soldier. If you train it, it could take 10, 20, 30 turns. And if your city is small, it might take 100 turns. It depends on your production abilities. But you want to earn a lot of gold, and you want to have a lot of production. I have 260,000 gold because I focus on gold. You want to focus on the gold. You want to develop all of your land. See over here, I've got an undeveloped tile. So when I go here and click on this, nobody's working this tile because it's undeveloped. Ideally, you want to have something here that this city can put a person on and get some sort of a bonus from. So you want to go through and make sure you develop everything. Here's another undeveloped tile. You can see in this case, someone is working on this tile, but they're not getting all the bonuses, which means that you need to make a builder and have the builder develop the tile. So that builder, he's going to go and he's going to develop that tile. He's going to do this one over here, etc. You don't have to develop everything. I am going to show you this list. So the holy site, the faith, that's not that important. The campus is not that important. The encampment is, because you're going to be doing battle. You're going to need good weapons. The harbor is important because it generates money, and that means you're along the coast. You're going to need access to food and production because you don't have land. The aerodrome, you don't need it in every city, but sometimes you do. You can play the game without the aerodrome. The commercial hub is a good idea because it makes money. Entertainment is going to help with production, but it's not your primary development. Theater helps expand your borders, so anything around the edge of your civilization you're going to want. And the neighborhood is if you want more people, along with the aqueduct, which is aqueduct is essential, and in the spaceport only if you plan to fly into space. In terms of weapons, a lot of them you don't need. You can get along with just the modern armor. You don't, and maybe the jet bombers. You don't need all this other stuff, but they're all pretty good. Like a mobile SAM is really important because it protects you from being bombed, and rocket artillery is really good because it has a good range. You can hit people from far away. If you've got a lot of rocket artillery, you can go in and do a lot of damage. The military engineer is important because he can go and he can build an airstrip almost anywhere. Small airstrips, but at least he can build them and you can fly your guys around. This is my fleet of ships. They all have different abilities. You're going to want to keep them near each other so they protect each other. Some of them can attack land, like a city. Some of them have missile defense, which means if the jet bomber tries to bomb it, it'll defend itself, and it might shoot the jet bomber down. Submarine is sneaky. He can travel around undetected. You got to be next to him. The aircraft carrier only carries 2 airplanes, but he can do a lot of damage because he can carry nuclear weapons. but they're very vulnerable and they need to be protected. So you have to keep your fleet nearby, and you can put it inside of a city if you want it to be really safe. So I'm going to move them a little bit closer. To build a little bit of a better protective shield. If you want to scout around, you're probably going to want to use a submarine, because you can get near the enemy, they won't see you. And you can spot other submarines. So obviously there's some tiles you cannot develop or cross over. Got a big wall over here. However, the helicopters can fly over a lot of the terrain, and they fly very quickly. So having a helicopter is good if you want to fly over a lot of land. A lot of these units can travel anywhere, even on enemy territory. So you want to use some of your units to spy on the enemy. I've got some units that are over here. I'm going to send them into the yellow area so that they can spy on this part. This, where it shows all the drawings, that means I can't see it. This is an archaeologist. He excavates the artifact. I don't know how often he's allowed to do it, but you see over here it says choose artifact, and then you pick one of these two options, and then it says that I have discovered this artifact, which gives you a bonus and you can trade for it. This is a worker. This land has been pillaged, and he can do a repair by clicking on the wrench. When you're waiting for your next turn, you can look at different things in the game, see different things I need to fix. You usually want to produce whatever gets done the quickest. It just makes a lot of sense to do it that way. You want to get all the small production done. See over here where it says promotion available? You can upgrade some units. And the upgrade means that they're going to have a new ability. Some of the new abilities are really, really good. For example, with this one, you want the one that says Orator. It doubles his use. You can upgrade boats and things like that. So I don't see Orator, and none of these are very useful, so I really don't care. And you can obviously move them around. Where would I move this guy to? I'm going to move him to here because it has no color, which means that he's not part of the religious system. Over here you see it says bank repair, and it has a low number, 8. 8's pretty low number, so I'm going to repair the one with the low number. Over here I want to expand my religion because there's too many religions in the game, and they keep coming to my territory and converting my citizens, so I want to protect myself. So I'm making a lot of religious buildings. This right here is a trader. He's trading goods and services and earning money. Over here it says that he needs to do production. These are all temporary. You can redo them. So I usually do anything for money, which is a commercial hub. You can do it over and over and over again. I don't see anything. Oh, I'll do the medic, because I want to see how the medic works. So over here we got the same situation where everything has been researched. Some of them are ghosted out because the city's not big enough. and it will tell you that the city needs to be bigger. See over here it says swap, swap, and swap. I don't know who has that territory. Okay, so this territory looks like it's not being used. So I'm going to take it in the swap, and I'm going to take this one in the swap. These probably don't matter. And it's going to help this city have new territory that it can work. And maybe it'll help it grow. These cannot be swapped because these are districts that are owned by somebody. But this is going to allow me to have more people. I don't see any tiles that signify housing, but it would allow you to grow the city better. Maybe you could get more food or whatever else it is that you need. And you see that there's a couple that are ghosted out. That means that I've already got 4 extras as it is. So I really don't need any more. Housing is what he needs. So he needs a neighborhood, and this one is undeveloped. So I'm going to build the neighborhood, which is going to give me the +5 for housing. Sometimes when you see a bonus, it's cumulative. So if it says production +1, as you get other bonuses, it might be added or multiplied from other things that you build. So this guy, he's missing a lot of these things. So I want to develop them. You usually want to get money. It looks like he needs amenities, and there's a lot of empty land over here. He needs amenities, so I could build amenities shared between those 2 cities. I got tons of property. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it on the one that has the lowest production. This one has 6, this has 5, and this has 5. It has 4 food and 1 production. You can see by the icons. So I'm going to pick this one, and he's going to provide amenities to these 3 cities, which is going to keep them happy. You can see I can upgrade my hangar, which allows me to put more airplanes. He needs more housing. I only have one choice. See over here, there's an option to swap that property. He's not going to have a lot of property to work on. So if I build housing through a neighborhood, might not be able to work on anything anyway. You know what? He's not going to be able to. So I'm going to save it for later, and I'm going to build a hangar, which is right here. It builds after you select it. Doesn't build instantly. This has a repair of 1 day or 1 turn. I'm going to work on that repair. You can see that there's a lot that needs to be done here. You want to do the one that's done the fastest and is also useful. So I'm going to do the commercial hub to earn the cash. Over here you see we have an upgrade. I don't see the one that I want. So I'm not going to choose it. I'm just going to move him. I know that there's a territory down here that's Bangalore that needs to have their faith restored. If you have a city near the water, it's very important that you have developed these tiles where the boats are. Your builders have to come out here and do it. That's going to allow you to get some extra food. You can see over here getting some extra money. That food is 5 food, and it looks like 5 gold. This is really valuable. So over here we have the observation balloon. I am going to move it this way because I want to observe this territory. You have to be able to see the property that you're going to attack. I'm in his territory because we have some sort of an alliance together, or it's my civic. Otherwise, normally you wouldn't be allowed to go there. Okay, so that is a beginner's guide to Civ 6. I have an advanced guide where I go through all the menus and explain everything. This is just a little bit to tell you how the game works. I got a lot of tips on my YouTube channel. Look at my Civ 6 playlist and look at my discussion forum. I'm sorry that I changed it. Where you go to cheapbooks.cc and go to video games, turn-based strategy, civilization, and you'll see different tips. You'll see the guide that I created. It has images that explains what each entry does, and it gives a little bit of tips. And you'll find links to other videos that give you information about how to play the game. And when I do my Civ 6 tips video, I'm going to post the tips over here first, and then I'm going to make the video, so you'll be able to see the tips as I make them. I might make the video months later. If you have any questions or comments, please post below.